My name is Nyadru Stephen, the Warden for Tourism, Queen Elizabeth National Park. Pleasure to have you here. Once more, you're most welcome again to the Channel Boat Cruise. We have done the activity of the game drive. We have seen other management interventions, and then now we have come for the boat cruise. This is one of the activities that you must not miss in Queen Elizabeth National Park. We have the captain, Martin, my colleague, this one I introduced before, another model here. A model is called Betty. She's one of the colleagues here. Dan, your chief guide, and the assistant.
Once again, you're most welcome to the Kazinga Channel boat cruise, and my name is Daniel Tirwamwe. So as we're going to board for the 2-hour activity, which is one of the among other activities that we do in Queen, we have what we call the do's and the don'ts. So to make sure that we are safe on this boat cruise, you have to make sure that you get in and put on the life jacket. After the life jacket, make sure that in case you want to walk on the upper deck, there is a writing on the right of the steps that mind your head. Don't hurt yourself when you're walking up. And in case you've got any plastic or any litter, we have trash bins on the boat. Make sure that you dispose it very well. And we have got a toilet on the boat. Make sure that you use it for either of the nature calls. When you're on the channel, never forget to always be patient, to look left and right such that you don't miss at anything. At the same time, you're supposed to be a team, because we have gone as a team to win, not to lose, as we wait for luck to have everything availed to us by nature. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your boat cruise. Thank you. So Kazinga Channel is a natural channel as a result of a tectonic force called faulting. And the length of this channel is 40 kilometers. And the depth is 8 to 12 meters deep. And it is a natural channel that is connecting 2 lakes. Lake George in the northeastern side of the park, which is behind us, to Lake Edward, which is in the western side, where we are heading to. And it is the channel where you can visit and you don't get disappointed in as far as attractions are concerned. This national park is called Queen Elizabeth National Park. But before the Queen, because Uganda is a British colony, we had local names. And this national park was once called Kazinga National Park. So George and Edward were British royals who came faster, but in 1954 in April, when Elizabeth II came to visit this park, that's when the name changed from Kazinga to Queen Elizabeth National Park. Short grassland savanna alongside years, because of climate change, has been changing from short grassland savanna to tall grassland savanna to thickets and shrubs. Now the thickets have closed up to an extent that savanna has been depleted to this bare land. So we refer that to be the effects of climate change that has resulted into that. If you can look ahead, we also have a lonely buffalo. That is a loser male buffalo. But I want to teach you birds today. And if you can look at where the buffalo is, there is a gray heron and a great white eaglet, and just below that loser buffalo is a white bird. That is a cattle eaglet. So when you're on the channel, you cannot miss birding. Crocodiles are creatures that will always be out of the water to stay over the land, to enjoy the warmth of the ground, the fact that they are always in the water during the day. And they live between 100 to 200 years. And their eggs, the hatchlings that come out of their eggs are determined by the temperatures of the day. When it is too hot, the probability of males getting hatched are always more than females getting hatched, because hotter temperatures, males are hatched, and lower temperatures, females are hatched. So a lot of birds, again, those are Egyptian geese, as well as yellow-billed storks. Close to us is a school of hippos. In other words, a group of hippos is called a school. So in such a group or a school, the dominant male is one, but females are many. And in case there is any male that has accidentally grown out of this school and joins them, it has to submit to the dominant male. Otherwise, if it cannot submit, then it can easily get killed by the dominant male. And that's how females that produce young males end up shying away, and whenever fishermen are in where they are trying to lay their nets to get fish, that's how they are easily killed by those females hiding the young males. Look at this beautiful small bird, the pied kingfishers. And so amazing that is on the channel where kingfishers population is unexpected. And if you can look on the walls, on the cliff, are the nests of the pied kingfishers. So they dig ground nests, which is as long in the cliff as 1 meter, and the beauty of the bedroom is the feathers that it normally pricks on its own other feathers and makes a beautiful bedroom. Right now, if you can look at this beautiful boat, these are some of the other facilities that we have on the Kazinga Channel. And the beauty of this is that Uganda Wildlife Authority allows private owners to invest in the national park in as far as concession activities are concerned. So this is called MV Kazinga, owned by Great Lakes Safaris. And it is a concession in a sense that when tourists come and board this facility, the owner of the lodge will benefit, but at the same time, government, whose mandate has been trusted by Uganda Wildlife Authority to make an agreement of how statistics are taken on people who board this facility, is concerned. At the end, there is a win-win business. The owner earning, as well as government is also getting money out of the facility. Ahead of us is a flock of beautiful birds, and they are gathered together because these are called cattle eaglets. And eaglet family species are very many. If you don't look at this family, this species of the eaglet, you can look at the little eaglets, slightly differing from these ones because their beaks are black with yellow feet. But we also have what we call the intermediate eaglets, slightly taller than the little eaglet, and these cattle eaglets being slightly smaller than the little. But we also have what we call the great white eaglets, which are taller than the rest. But the beauty of these cattle eaglets is that they will always move with buffaloes and sometimes with warthogs and elephants, because they like picking insects whenever the herds of these animals are grazing. During the day, hippos are permanent residents in the water because they can't stay without water, because their skins are bare. They can get sunburn whenever they want to go out of the water and graze during the day. But for buffaloes, they normally come to visit the hippos during the day in the water because they drink from that water and also cools themselves. So if there would be an incident where the hippos chase the buffaloes from the water during the day, also buffaloes would be chasing hippos during the night when they are supposed to graze. And at times when there are predators that want to attack buffaloes from the water, especially crocodiles, these hippos are there to safeguard those creatures or warn them in time, and they run out of the water. It is only lions that can disorganize the hippos, at the same time the buffaloes when they are over the land. But when lions are not there, the wild is quite peaceful. All this is found at the Kazinga Channel to an extent that you can even find crocodiles interacting over the shores, simply because the channel is a conserved zone and there is a lot of fish where the crocodiles can survive on, not to harm the rest of the mammals. It's quite rare to find hippos out of the water during the day. But hippos, as I told you, are creatures that can't live without water. Where there is no water, at least let there be a mud pool. But because there is hope that water is very close, they can enjoy bathing on the sun or basking on the sun for a short time. But if you can critically observe on their skin, they look a little bit shiny compared to the hippos that you have just left in the water. So they have got what we call a hypothalamus membrane, and they stimulate a hormone, which hormone shields their skin from getting sunburn. So at times, that is when you find them looking shiny, and that shining is because that body membrane that is stimulated shields the skin from the rays of the sun to avoid causing sunburn. So that is also another boat of Mwea Safari Lodge under Marasa that is also doing the operations of cruising with tourists on the channel, more or less like to how we looked at Wekesa, Great Lakes boat that was also on the water. Concessions are open, and you can come to Uganda Wildlife Authority to make sure that all is availed to you. So right now, I want you to observe a component of Queen Elizabeth National Park, known to be a medley of wonders, now coming to another name called a Man and Biosphere Reserve. So as I told you, this is the only national park where human beings interact with animals and they are staying in harmony without harming each other. This community is called Kazinga Fishing Village, which is among the 11 fishing villages or fishing communities that we have in Queen Elizabeth National Park. So whenever I reach on this community, it reminds me of how beautiful coexistence can be manifested when tourists are enjoying their boat cruise. So if these animals wouldn't be staying at peace with these people, they wouldn't be here. Instead, they would be on a run, and you would see their behavior not normal. So to make sure that we sustain this biosphere stay, 20% of the money that every tourist pays at the end of every financial year is dispersed back to these communities as revenue sharing. So if you can look at this water tank right now, plus the treatment house, it tells you that Uganda Wildlife Authority's effort in partnership with other stakeholders who wants the good stay of these communities in relation to the conservation efforts and animals we are taking care of, water is pumped, preserved, treated using all the parameters of water, and the community enjoys clean water. So it is helping people not to come and fetch directly to the water, but water is pumped to the communities such that the conflicts of people getting killed by animals like hippos and crocodiles are reduced. And you can look at a grid of electricity around this community. So these are stakeholders' efforts in partnership with UA, and this is WWF. So we don't work alone in Uganda Wildlife Authority. We have got other conservation partners that work within the premises of the conservation areas to improve the livelihoods of the people. Those fishermen are here because they are meant to dock the boats, but we don't allow them to fish in the Kazinga Channel. Instead, they go and fish on Lake Edward, and in the morning, they only bring here fish for business purposes. And during the day, they only dock, clean their nets, and wait for the previous evening when they are supposed to go and fish overnight on Lake Edward. And before us is a bird sanctuary. This bird sanctuary has been here over decades and centuries. And the beauty of this sanctuary is that it hosts birds that don't normally, that don't only stay here, but instead birds that also migrate from Europe and they find their way in Africa. So whenever there is winter in Europe, some birds cannot be accommodated by those harsh conditions. So they have to fly southwards, and they find their way in Africa, and the Kazinga Channel is one of the bird sanctuaries that hosts those birds. So if we can now go to bird identification, the one right now coming closer and flying, and I mean in a big flock over the land, those are called gray-headed gulls. But among the gray-headed gulls, there are also other species like the black-winged stilt, like the gray heron, like the great white eaglet, and we have got big white birds in a flock of around 10 of them. Those are called pink-backed pelicans. And away from the pink-backed pelicans, we have got black birds looking in one direction, and if you can critically observe, their necks are shaking. And those are called great cormorants. So most birds have gone back to Europe. So birds normally reach on this sanctuary from Europe in the month of September. So September, October, November, December, January, February, we normally have got birds that migrate. So right now, Feb and March, most of these birds have gone back to Europe for breeding. And most of them we are looking at this sanctuary are resident birds. So in these birds, not all of them will fly and go, but some are left back because of some reasons. But the logic behind qualifying to fly to Europe is that these sanctuaries have got a lot of small fish. And strategically, they normally come here because we are close to where the Kazinga Channel enters Lake Edward. So it is an outlet of the channel going in a big lake. So there is a lot of breeding that comes from the channel that is trying to go in the bigger waters for that fish to luxuriously grow. So these birds are very clever to go where they know they will stock in a lot of fats for them to prepare while they are soon flying, going back to Europe. Lake Edward is a transboundary lake. We share it with Democratic Republic of Congo. And a big part of Lake Edward is in Congo, 40 kilometers. Only Uganda has 25 kilometers, and we have been on 8 to 12 meters depth. But when you go furthermore in Lake Edward, there is where we get 109 to 112 meters depth within the lake, not below the sea level, because we are in the Rift Valley, and this is the western arm of the great East African Rift Valley that has got the eastern wall on the Chichamba and the Chambora escarpment, and the western wall, which you are looking at right now ahead of us. Those are the ranges of Mount Rwenzori in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Kazinga Channel.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.